Hello everyone, this is Donnie aka Elevated, and thank you for tuning in again today. And this is going to be my return from the holidays, my return from a little bit of a break from making content and playing Dota 2. And many of you might be on my level. And that's actually what I wanted to talk about in today's video, which is how to not lose a step or not be rusty or just not suck when you come back from a break from Dota, whether that be for a holiday vacation, maybe you just couldn't play for a while because of school or work, or simply you were just kind of bored of the game and we're waiting for that next MMR season to start or that next patch. The thing is, when you take a break from Dota, most people fall off. In fact, I would say everybody falls off if you're not playing regularly. And that's just something that happens in really any activity that requires some sort of mechanical skill, because the more repetitions you do, the more comfortable you are doing them. And so if you don't do something for a while, you're generally going to be worse at it. It happens to me with sports. It happens to me when I play guitar or don't play guitar for a while. And I know a lot of you might be saying, well, you guys talk so much about strategy and mentality being way more important than mechanics. And well, that still remains true. There is a mechanical component. And in fact, a lot of that strategy and mentality is enabled by having at least reasonably good mechanics where you feel comfortable. Because if you're super uncomfortable with pressing your buttons and clicking and, laning or something like that, it's going to be really hard to actually pay attention to what's going on the map or think about what you should be doing in 2 minutes from now, because all you can think about at this moment is just staying alive. And if you ever played a sport before or you watch professional sports, you'll notice that there's pretty much always a preseason. And that's because there is a break period. You don't just play 100% competitive sports all the time. There's always a little bit of a break. And therefore, when you take a break, you want to kind of ramp back up to your competing level. And you can't just do that immediately. Honestly, the best way to ramp back up to where you want to be is to simply just play, 20 or 30 games. And then you can maybe expect yourself to be as warm, as mechanically skilled as you were a couple months ago when you were playing every single day. But, for a lot of us, we don't necessarily have that much time, and that's a pretty lame video to just be like, well, play 30 or 40 games and don't expect yourself to be as good until you've played those 30 or 40 games. And I think the entire problem that we're talking about was summarized pretty well in Jenkins's recently released video, What is the Difference Between a Herald and a Pro?, where he explains that essentially it all comes down to speed. Better players are basically doing everything in Dota faster. It's kind of the same thing as when you come back from a break. You're just simply not going to be as fast. It's not possible to be as fast because you haven't been doing the actions enough. And so that's what we're going to work on here in this video. But I think that actually if you employ this routine every day, it's probably something that would just make you a better Dota player in the long run. But in this case, we're talking about coming back from a break. And so step one is going to be checking the trends on Dota buff or strats or whatever you use to look at sort of the meta and whatever data scraper is pulling this data from the API. I think it's really important just to have some kind of baseline knowledge. There's been I'm sure a lot of people have had the experience of you're playing a game and there's been some significant hero changes and people are like, hey, what happened to Coddle's ultimate? Why am I putting down this disco ball? That's weird. And you're like, do you not read the patches, bro? And that can be really, really frustrating to play with. And obviously it just, if you don't know about significant hero changes, you're just not going to play the hero as well. So that's one part of this. But I also think it's really important just to kind of like understand where the meta might be if you haven't played in a month or so. And so I think that if you go on Dota Buff and you search for the trends and you look at the metas of the different MMR brackets, whatever your MMR bracket is, I would always check whatever yours is and also whatever the highest is. So Immortal Divine. See what heroes are being prioritized, see what heroes are being picked a lot, what heroes are winning a lot, and also maybe what heroes are not winning a lot, because sometimes some of your favorite heroes, let's say you like to play a lot of Monkey King and you sort this by the least winning heroes, you'll notice that Monkey King is very, very low. I mean, actually is very low in all brackets. And so it's kind of important to have some sort of understanding about maybe where all these little small incremental balance changes might have affected the game if you have taken a fairly significant break. Now, the next thing I like to do is look at the actual trends and see if there are any heroes that are maybe being discovered currently as being strong. And sometimes this can change week to week. Sometimes it will change month to month. Sometimes it won't change for a while. Just do a tiny little bit of research. You don't have to spend like hours here. Just spend like literally 2, 3, 5 minutes just looking at the trends. And if you notice that any of the heroes that are high win rate are heroes that you like to play or previously liked to play before you had taken your break, these are some pretty good bets to maybe hop right into your games with instead of trying to figure out what's actually strong. Just, play the heroes that you're good at that are winning a lot. So step number 2 is, this is going to sound a little bit weird. A lot of these are going to be a little bit kind of strange because they don't involve actually playing the game of Dota, but I'll explain why that is at the end of the video. Step 2 is going to be play a game of Overthrow or Frostivus or Hardcore Ninja or something like that. Basically, whatever custom game is really, really action-packed. And I would say if you're going to play something like Overthrow, bonus points for picking your most mechanically demanding hero, like a Morphling, a Rubik, Invoker, Ember Spirit, something like that. And really just try and push yourself. You're going to make a ton of mistakes, especially if this is a hero that you're still kind of learning, but something you want to be good at. And so you're practicing it maybe before you took a break. And now that you're back from break, it's just overwhelmingly complicated or complex to play in a high pressure, high stress environment. You definitely wouldn't want to take this hero and play your very first game after a month break in ranked with an Invoker, for example, just because there's so much that goes into the muscle memory of playing the hero that you really can't just expect yourself to be at that high level the second that you play the game again. So I think an Overthrow is actually a really wonderful tool, just because it allows you to just fight. It's entertaining. It's not like just drilling the same thing over and over and, reviewing some replays and then playing a bunch of games unranked and play 30, 40 games unranked and then come back into ranked. And that would be the best way to warm back up. But that, it takes too long. It's not very fun. So just play a game of Overthrow, go as ham as possible, try to focus on not dying, your positioning. But generally just, play the game and get those fingers moving and hitting your hotkeys, hitting your item keys again. And that's going to help kind of warm up the small little bits of muscle memory that you might have lost. So step 3 is going to be to play the Invoker Sunstrike Accuracy Trainer in the Training Polygon custom game. So we're going back to the arcade, we're going to hop into the Training Polygon, and we're going to open up I think it's the mini-map aim challenge or something like that. Basically what it is you need to immediately move your camera to somewhere on the mini-map, sunstrike a unit, and then you just do that and it speeds up faster and faster and faster for a certain amount of time. And it just tests your accuracy to be able to quickly move your camera using the mini-map to a specific location, execute an action, and then move on to the next one. And this is something that I think a lot of people kind of neglect to do anyway. So if you're not already doing this, I think it's a really good practice just for general Dota improvement. But using your mini-map effectively and being able to quickly gather information in a game is a vital skill to improving. So this particular training exercise, it only takes like 1 or 2 minutes, and it will allow you to very quickly ramp back up to speed of using your mini-map and effectively centering yourself and your camera on a particular unit at a particular time. So play a game of this. Again, we're investing just, a couple minutes to get probably many more reps that you get in a normal game of Dota. And that's the important part of this whole little video is efficiency. All right, step 4 is just to play one of the last hit trainer rounds. It only takes, 2.5, 3 minutes. And a lot of the time, if you've taken a break, you're simply going to have a breakdown of your mechanics. You're going to be sluggish. The turn rate is going to feel really weird on your hero. The predicting of how much damage creeps do is going to be worse than it used to be. So simply just doing one round of Last Hit Trainer before queuing is going to get you used to your hero's attack animation again and just the general mechanics of last hitting. Of course, you don't have somebody contesting you for it. So if you want to do this, maybe just play a laning stage in a bot match. That's another alternative. But Again, we're talking about trying to be as efficient as possible in kind of our ramp back up to speed, because we want to just get right back into playing ranked as soon as possible. But we want to do that without the detriment of having very rusty mechanical skills. So play one of these, and then if you are feeling ready for it, go ahead and hit that Q button and just play the Last Hit Trainer again until your game pops. And that way you will be able to take some confidence that you're not coming in completely fresh to the game without any sort of warm-up beforehand. So basically, all these steps combined should take you probably not more than about half an hour to complete, which is generally less than a full game of Dota 2. And so you're going to get more reps, you're going to get more practice, you're going to be able to warm up more and more effectively on specific skills that you need to learn and need to get warmed up than you would in that one game of Dota that would take to do all of these things. And likely that was a game of Dota that you struggled through because you're just playing way slower than you used to at the MMR. And so everybody just seems to be better and faster than they were when you left, because you know what? They are, because you're slow now. So don't struggle through that game. Instead, do this little routine. It doesn't take very long, and you'll come back up to speed much faster. Finally, I just want to say that remember, you're not going to immediately be back up to speed, even doing this routine, even with taking these precautions. So hopping into a ranked game at your previous MMR and trying to just simply outskill your opponent is basically just going to be setting yourself up for failure. So my best advice for that is basically just pay extra close attention to everything that you're doing, whether it be last hitting, whether it be positioning, whether it be warding or itemization. Basically just try to be extra present, and that will help bring you back up to speed faster. Ask yourself the questions like, what should I be doing right now? Am I efficiently using my time? Is my positioning actually good here? And just ask them every time that you can remember to. It's sort of like a little bit of a mantra that will allow you to be more conscious, more present of what you're doing. Forgive yourself and forgive your teammates who probably also took some breaks over the holidays, some of their mistakes, because everybody makes them, and just focus on the positive. Get yourself back on the grind. Good luck, have fun, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.